Hi, it's William. I'm going to talk to you today about heartworm, canine heartworm, what it is, what causes it, and how it's treated. So I went to the ASPCA website, and according to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, between 37 and 47% of U.S. households have a dog, which amounts to 70 to 80 million pet dogs in the U.S. Um, and it is a disease, it's a potentially fatal disease that occurs in all 50 states. The reason why I chose this topic again, I'll mention it again, is that the dog that I had adopted from the animal shelter, even though she had tested negative for heartworm, um, it turned out that she was actually positive for it. So I thought this would be a good topic to discuss. So what is heartworm? It's actually a worm. It is a worm that it lives within the heart and the lungs and the associated blood vessels of the animal. They grow up to 1 foot long, and there can be up to 250 worms in a dog that's been infested, which live for 5 to 7 years. And as I said, it occurs in all 50 states, and it can be fatal. Um, so now that we know what it is, I can explain how it's transmitted, which is through a mosquito bite. That's the only way it's transmitted. A mosquito carrying the larva of the heartworm will bite the dog, and it takes about 6 months for it to grow into an adult heartworm, which is the first time that the dog will test positive. Only the adult worms show up on the blood antigen test. So that was the dog that I had adopted had been bitten recently. So it was actually, by the time they detected it, it was the worm had fully developed. Um, Cannot be transmitted from pet to pet. It can't be transmitted from pet to people. Um, but the best method really is prevention, which is through a monthly tablet. Um, so now that you know what it is, what are its effects? Um, uh, Usually in the early stages, there are no symptoms. As the disease progresses, the dog may cough, become fatigued easily, and lose weight. And in the advanced stages, of course, can result in heart failure. And again, since it's transmitted by a mosquito, um, really wherever in the country there are mosquitoes, you can have heartworm. And now, with climate changes, areas how should I say the breeding season is extended as certain climates get warmer. Um, how is it treated? Well, the best method is prevention, which is, as I said, a monthly tablet given 12 months out of the year. The treatment that I had to give the dog, it's actually an arsenic-based drug. They have modified it so that it's less toxic, but they have to get a series of 3 arsenic-based injections. Um, and the dogs that wind up dying after the treatment are not actually dying due to the heartworm. What happens is as the worm is dying, it breaks up and it can pass into the heart, into the lungs, and cause a blockage. So during the time of treatment, they have to stay still, like in a crate, like they can't run, they can't play. So really the best method is prevention. Um, Again, I'll just tell that story again. I did have friends for dinner, and I had left a heartworm tablet on the counter um, after the meal. And when I came back into the room, this person actually said to me, "What kind of heartburn medicine was that? It tastes terrible." So it was, and poison control wasn't unused. Um, so I hope you found it informative. It is a preventative disease. So I don't want to, this is an informative speech, not a persuasive one. So I'm just giving you the facts, but I hope you did learn something. Thank you.
Bravo.
Who knew?
You going next, Lisa?
Yeah, that was interesting. I never knew that. Okay. All right. I'm ready. You ready? You muted?
Ready.
Hi, my name's Lisa. I'm going to talk to you today about a very historic city in England called Coventry. Coventry City is my hometown. I was born in Birmingham, which is about 45 minutes away from Coventry, but I lived there from the age of 2 until 26 when I came to the States. But it's a typically unknown city today, but it has a lot of history that is pretty important in terms of England's history. So I'm going to talk about 3 different periods: the early period of history, the contribution to the car manufacturing industry, and the importance of Coventry during World War II. So from medieval times to post-World War II, Coventry City remained to be an integral and pivotal city in England. The earliest history when it started was about 700 AD. However, the first recorded history was in 1043 when the Earl of Mercia and his wife, the Countess Godiva, took residence there. And the Earl later raised the taxes, and the historic story goes that he raised the taxes and the people were complaining, so his wife rode around the city naked on horseback in an attempt to persuade him to lower the taxes. So she was later named Lady Godiva, and there's actually a statue in the city that was placed in 1949, and it's still there today with Lady Godiva on it. But Coventry became central for the textile industry. In 1627, it was known for silk weaving, and it was the center of England for silk weaving. And then in the 1800s, it changed to ribbon weaving. And so with all of that industry boom happening then, it was the 4th most powerful city in England. But all of that came to an end in the 1860s when they began foreign imports. But Coventry City didn't cease. It continued to evolve, and with new industries. And so the next industry that it was really concentrated on was the car manufacturing industry. It was the birthplace of the British motor car. And in 1897, Daimler Motor Company began serial production. And after 10 years of production, they had more than 10,000 employees, which was pretty huge at that time. So Coventry was the center for the British motor industry, and it's famous even to this day for cars like Jaguar, Rover, Land Rover, Peugeot, just to name a few, and was also really famous for a huge manufacturing plant called Elvis, which produced aircraft engines and armored cars. My mom actually worked there for 20 years. So World War I came along, and many of the motor car companies began changing from manufacturing of motor cars to aircraft and war production. So this concentration of production warfare made Coventry a target for the enemy. And so in World War II, it became a target for the German Luftwaffe aircraft raid. And it was one of the cities that was most affected by bombing in England in World War II. In one evening, 450 planes bombed the city continuously. So it started like at 7:20 at night and didn't stop until the morning. I want to read you a quote from Adolf Hitler, who ordered the bombing. This is from the BBC Online. He was quoted to say, "A single blow must destroy the enemy without regard of losses, a gigantic, all-destroying blow." So those are the words of Adolf Hitler, and that's surely what took place in Coventry. After the bombing was finished, about 3/4 of the city was destroyed. And one of the big things that happened was there was a cathedral, and that was in ruins. And Coventry built a new cathedral in 1962. The old cathedral ruins and the new cathedral are side by side. So if you go and visit, you get to tour the history of the old cathedral and then go right into the new one. But this bombing was known as the Coventry Blitz. It was very, very famous. And because of this incident, the German language coined a term called Coventryed, which means razed to the ground or totally destroyed. And they continue to use that term for further enemy attacks that they had. So I just wanted to share with you that Coventry is typically an unknown city, today at least, but it has a lot of history that was really important and pivotal for England's history. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that will make you more interested in visiting England. Thank you for your time.
Very, very interesting.
Oh, I missed some stuff, and I missed the quote. Whatever.
No, that was good.
It's good.
So it has to be weird, like living in Florida when they say, like, you see a sign that says established in 1989,
Yeah.
right?
Well, European history is
Yeah.
really crazy, long, and deep. It's completely different to here.
It's like that even coming from New York, where it's like, since 1888, and here it's like 1972. Or,
Yeah.
right.
Vanessa, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
All right, so I'm going to talk about how technology has taken over our generation. Mainly because, I mean, I'm around technology every day, as you guys can see. Ironically, I have my shirt on. But, so, obviously, we know that technology's everywhere. From walking down the street, in our hands, we're on our laptops right now. I mean, it's pretty amazing what we're doing right now, if you think about it. And, how technology operates businesses now, how we communicate with each other, and things like that. So, clearly, like I stated, working at AT&T, I work off my iPad. That's all I do. So everywhere I go is basically my station. So I'm constantly sitting there waiting for it basically to work for me, because that's how it goes now. The other day I walked into a restaurant, I'm sorry, and I literally just swiped my card on this little tiny tablet, put how much tip I wanted to put on it. I mean, it's things like that that are changing every day. And I don't know if you guys have heard, about some of the things that AT&T has. For example, like, we have a home security system, and we can literally use our phone to arm and disarm the house. We can control the lighting. We can pull up the cameras that are inside or outside. We can basically, our smartphone, control your house from your smartphone, which is pretty insane. I don't know about you guys, but I think we're, on the verge of robots pretty much doing everything for us. You know what I mean? It changes the way we communicate. Obviously, we're sitting here talking. We can meet people over the internet. There's dating sites. There's a million different ways to talk to people. And there's also things how technology is in your everyday activities as well. So, I mean, you're obviously on your phone every day. We sell little watches that track your sleep, monitor your steps. As you can see what I'm using right now? It's pretty cool, right? It's a Bluetooth headset. I connected it to my laptop so I can listen to you guys. So, technology is literally taking over our generation to the point where we don't need anything anymore. And, it's come down to the point where it's just a matter of getting rid of house phones like landlines and stuff. When do you hear people saying that they have a house phone? Are you going to call me on my house phone today? I didn't think so, right? You're going to call me on my cell phone. So, I mean, that's pretty much how the world's turning to nowadays. And it's home invasion, basically. It's what we're at right now. And that's about it.
Lisa, did you
Did
see
something
her?
happen?
Did you see her while she was talking?
She started for the first few minutes being enlarged in the screen. Usually when you're the speaker, you're the bigger one. And then
Yeah.
halfway through, it went to the small one. I was just praying that it was still recording.
I'm. It says it's broadcasting, but I hope it's not broadcasting me sitting here, because I see myself on the big screen.
Yeah, that's what it switched to. And something popped up and said, William is
Well,
broadcasting.
Oh God.
yeah, it's showing that only like you're like no, I don't know what that means. We're presenting. I don't know.
Yeah. So it came up with the blue rectangle. It said William Levine is now presenting or broadcasting, one of the two. And then it just said you were not no longer. And now you're big again, Vanessa. So you might need to play it back and just check.
Let me see.